So, how did we get to this point? Like when we talk about this record marathon, like, how did we get to this point? Because we've been through it all, making music for, it's a very, very long time, lifetimes.
Yeah.
And music used to be shoot a nigga in the head, throw a baby in the trash. It used to be all these different types of things. And now we get to this point where it's so much growth in the music and it's so refreshing. It's like being thirsty and getting that breath of fresh air or that quenching water taste or something like that. So how did we get to this point?
Just I had to go through everything I went through to get to this point. So making all the music I made, from J. Chrome to making that transition to James Allen and experiencing more life and just constantly being in the studio, I was able to grow my sound and find myself and just sharpen my skills, the technique of everything.
But it got to be a little bit more deeper than that because of how your music is really like walks of life. Like it's leader-esque, where it's like young visionary. But what you're saying right now in your music it's always a line that's like, wow, I might not get it today, but tomorrow when I experience life a little bit more, then I'll understand it. Then it's like that aha moment. Like, is that something that you do on purpose?
Yeah, well,
like, can you sit there and be like, all right, let me figure out how I can write a double or a triple entendre to match this? Like, how do you get to that point now?
Okay, yeah. So that comes with time and working on the craft. At first, it was intentional. Like, if you listen to the early stuff, like, I think I really started getting real good around the time I did Focus, like 2014. I noticed that I was getting really good at it, and that come from watching people like Jay-Z, Wale. They do it in a way where it's a hot line, but it's no punchline. Excuse me. It's not like I do this like this. It's like you say it in a way where it's subtle, and it's like, oh, you gotta listen to it a couple times to catch it.
It becomes clever.
Right. So after a while, I started doing it without there's no intention on doing it. It just flows now. So yeah, that's how we got to that point.
So where do you pull when we get to these records like Marathon? When you get to these records like this, like what are we pulling from?
Just life experiences. Everything that I went through to this point is coming out now. And that's kind of how I express myself in the record.
So is it like you hear the beat and the beat gives you a thought or a mindset or a time or a place, a setting for those thoughts to just come out?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like you vibing.
So what I do is right now, my engineer and a great artist named Gibbs, we work on beats from scratch now. And he'll start with a melody, then do the drums, and I kind of just vibe out. Then I'll go and I'm like, all right, I'm ready. I'll go in the booth and just the punch-in method, like say line by line, and we kind of see where the vibe goes from there.
But do you like it that way? Because I know you could get an instrumental CD and just put an instrumental on and just go. So now, like, do you feel like punching in and creating a beat from the beginning is a better process? What does that do for you?
Yeah, it's full control, full fluidity, if that makes sense. I wrote for a long time, over 10 years, and I guess it got boring to me. You just go in the booth, all right, I rap it, go this way. I gotta say it like this, exactly like this. With the punching method, I could say it one way, and if I don't like it, I'm like, well, let me try to say it this way. Maybe if I do a vocal inflection, which is raise my pitch a little bit, say it this way. It's no limits to what you can do when you just with the punching method.
So it's really 100% freedom, like.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I asked you, what do you pull from? In the record, you talk about The Richest Man in Babylon, and we've talked about this off camera. You love that book. What does that book do for you to even add it into this record?
So yeah, that's one of my favorite books, and I read it so much because they have these 7 steps in there about financial freedom, and the book is so old, but the rules still apply in different forms, and so I kind of live by that's kind of how I've been growing my wealth. I live by those steps. So I read that book, and one of the first steps is start thy purse to fattening, which is start a shoebox, as Rick Ross would say, or 2 Chainz would say. Start saving something, put it to the side to invest, and then it goes on with different steps. And it just gives you the blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's crazy. It's always been there. Somebody put it in a book and left it here and said, they didn't make it mandatory that you read it. It's just like, here, this book is here. If anyone wants to learn how to be wealthy, then you read this book.
But talk about that, though. It's really knowledge everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, like you said, it's not mandatory. It's really for you to go out and seek it. And when you seek it, you grab it, and then you can add this into your life. Because it's like, we can have all of these thought processes of how we want the world to go.
Mm-hmm.
But it's other things that we pull from that help us become us. So just give me some ideas of the things that you pull from that make you you, besides
Right.
The Richest Man in Babylon.
Right. So, besides The Richest Man in Babylon, I watched a lot of Eric Thomas videos, motivational speak, and the way that started in 2013. Somebody showed me my first Eric Thomas video, and he was saying, you gotta get up, you gotta do this. Like, it's motivation. It's like, oh, okay, cool. So motivational videos, they're where I pull inspiration from, and then also that allows me to speak on my life situations. Everything I go through comes out in my music. So I don't know why, but I remember stuff and it won't come out till years later. When I have the ability to speak about it in a way that's simplified, if that makes sense.
So you kind of like a cactus of information. You just harbor all this information, and when it's right, it's one thing I can admire about you is I always felt like you are a master of time. Like, you know the perfect time to say something, to do something. Because like most of the time you'll be really reserved. But then like when you speak, everybody else be quiet because it's not like you speak a lot. But when you speak for impact. So with that being said, one of your lines in your rap, and I'm paraphrasing because I'm terrible with remembering lyrics, right?
Word.
You say, I'm a Scorpio, and then you say basically, like, I really don't even talk to my friends about what I go through. I speak to my fans. And I can attest to this as a fan of you and knowing you as my brother. I'll hear a song, like even A Dog in a Cage. A Dog in a Cage came out, that project came out 4 years after a conversation. Like, the whole album was made off of a conversation that we had at a music video.
Right.
So, what is it about not being vocal to people about what you're going through, but to be able to put it in the song? Like, what is it? Like, do you feel more free doing that than anything?
It's kind of, they say hindsight is 20/20. So by the time I speak on something, I've had time to think about it, to digest it, and process the way I want to say it. In a way that makes sense for others. So that's one of my gifts, is being able to simplify complicated things. And I do that by just sitting with it and seeing how can I say this on everyone's level of understanding, if that makes sense.
So dumbing it down.
Yeah.
But when you speak about things, it's so far removed from when it actually happened. So when you speak on things, do you feel like you're cured from it?
No, I don't feel like I'm cured from it. I don't feel like, in a way, I feel like if it affected me in a harmful way, I've healed from it, so now I can speak on it. But while I'm going through it, I'm not going to speak on it, because I will be speaking from a hurt place, or just from emotion, period.
But doesn't that tap into the idea of perfection? Like, I don't want people to see me hurt, so I'll wait till it doesn't bother me to speak on it. Like, how is that helpful in your situation?
So all right. So yeah, when I'm in a hurt place,
right.
Those songs exist.
Right.
In the moment,
right.
They just never get released.
Right.
It's like, I got to get it out. So I'll go back and listen to those songs and be like, all right, I feel differently now. Now I'll speak on it, and then that record will come out. So that's kind of, I never told nobody that. The hurt songs, every pain I felt, enemies, like, it's all there. It exists. I probably should put that in a vault somewhere.
So this sounds you really sound like Waka Flocka yelling and screaming in the record.
Real
So
rap.
we talk about like the record is called Marathon. We talk about this record, but you know, Marathon has been super trendy. A lot of people have been talking about it because they've been really following the practices of Nipsey Hussle and his way of thinking. But what is it about Marathon that's like important to you, like in this record? Like, cause it means so much. It makes so much sense of saying, you know, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. But what's your depiction of it?
Yeah, this is just what I said. I've been running up, check this shit like a marathon. It's been a long run. So you've been there the whole time. So I've done hundreds, if not thousands of shows. I've done hundreds, if not thousands of challenges, of showcases, of just 100,000 verses. I did 200 to 300 verses on Instagram, just rapping, just writing a verse every Monday. I got thousands of songs on my hard drive. It's been over the span of when the first mixtape dropped in 2007. About My Biz.
That was actually not even your first project. That was your first solo project.
First solo project, right?
2007. So
Yeah,
even before then. 2002 or 3.
Dang.
ACO project.
Right. Exact. Damn, I didn't even think about that. But it's
20 years.
20 years.
20 years.
Of just, it's been a long run, and I've been growing and reaching a new level. And it's really a marathon. The thing is, you can't see the finish line. You don't know when. I say this all the time, you rap for 4 years, and you get a rapper degree, and then you on. It's like it could take 20 years. It could take another 20 years. And the thing is, are you willing to stay down? Like,
so is this destiny? Is it like, because granted, doing 20 years for something, not to say that you haven't reached the height that you wanted to or whatever, but doing 20 years or something, sometimes you get to a point where you like, I'm done. What keeps you going to this marathon?
I was about to say that. It's like anybody else, any logical person, I gotta be a little bit insane at this point.
Yeah.
To keep going and to keep believing. And anybody else would have been like, all right, this ain't working. Maybe it's not meant to be. But there's little hints here and there where I just keep getting better. I keep making a better song every time I go to the studio. And it's like, it's not staying the same. I'm not stagnant. So I don't feel like I should stop. I just keep getting better and better. And then I'll get a random DM or random text like, yo, this song got me through this. You helped me with this. I don't think you know this, but this song did XYZ. And it's like, I can't give up now. And then I got people like you. Like, so you fought for my album cover to be in our yearbook as the most talented person. I'm like, you fought for that. When I was ready to give up, I came to you. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm done with this shit. You're like, are you crazy? Are you crazy? And it's like, I'm not allowed to give up because you believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And then, like, all my brothers do that. They're like, yo, you got to keep going. And then I feel like if I was to stop right now, what hope does that give anybody else pursuing whatever they...
But just sorry to cut you off. That's the humble thing. That's like something to say. That's cool. That's Mahatma Gandhi. That's Martin Luther King. But where is the selfish aspect of that? For like just you, the individual part of it. Like, how much does love carry this? Like, because you said you're insane, but doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result becomes insanity. But you are creating different results. But there has to be some type of mindset is, I'm doing this because I love it. You don't do this for 20 years.
Yeah.
For nothing.
Right. Of
for
course
a hope. You know what I'm saying? So how much has hope carried this?
Yeah, I mean, of course there's always hope. You hope you make it. You hope you're successful. I hope I get that one song that does it for me. But I don't know when that's going to happen. I know if I stop, it never happens. So that's what keeps me going. Of course, I love me on music because every time I get in the studio, it's euphoria. It's just happiness. It's excitement because I don't know where it's going to go.
Is it therapy in here though? Somewhere it's like of course they tell you to go to therapy, and which is not a bad thing. Shout out to everybody that's going, and shout out to people that want to go. But it's like the way your music is, is it almost impossible to stop? Because you're very reserved, as we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But not only are you reserved, you use your music as a platform to let out and release.
Mm-hmm.
So it's automatically like, regardless if you sell 10 million records or not, you're still going to do this.
Yeah.
So it don't matter. So what defines your happiness in this? Like people rap to make it, but what is your make it?
My make it is just being able to create.
So you made it.
I made it. In those terms, yes, I made it.
All right then. So what we talking about? Like, you done it. You did it all. Like you got it all, brother. You know you worked out at the gym. Whatever muscle you trying to gain, brother, you got it all. You know what I'm saying? They owe you.
Word. So, yeah, it's just that being able to create freely. Now, what I want to do, I don't even think I would want to do it every day. I go to the studio once a week. I create maybe anywhere from 3 to 5 songs, and just being able to do that is cool. I'm cool with that, but of course I want that to be the only thing I do. Of course, the other days I want to be doing interviews, shooting music videos. That's just something that I really want to do. The real full time of it, if that makes sense, to be able to do what I love and not worry about the bills, not have to do something else that requires my time to make money. So that's kind of what the goal is right now, or the end all be all of it.
It makes sense. But this record is like, I say it again, it's like so refreshing. It's like so much growth that like you hear it and it's, you know, and I don't want to, it's like, it seems so mandatory. Like, it's like, you gotta have this somewhere, you know, because, you know, sometimes you want to listen to music to turn up to, sometimes you want to think, sometimes you're driving down the street on a beautiful day but it's raining. This is like mandatory. It's like the it's like a curricular, like part of a curriculum, and everything else is extracurricular. Like when you hear your music, what do you think? What do you feel? Like, let's just talk about Marathon, the record Marathon.
Okay.
Let's talk about that, right?
So when I hear Marathon, I think it's necessary. Like you're saying, it's definitely necessary. It's refreshing. I'm not speaking on generic topics or what I think's gonna pop. I'm speaking from my experience, and I think that's what makes music refreshing. You hear somebody's experience or somebody's perspective, and it's me speaking from my perspective, and that's what kind of makes it different. That's what sets it apart, and I think that's what sets all music apart.
So, are we putting a project together? Or are we doing singles, or like where are you at right now?
Yeah, so we doing singles.
Okay.
That's kind of I kind of don't want to put out any more albums for a while until, I'm gonna just say this, I'm getting a platinum single.
Right.
I'm getting a platinum single.
Okay.
So we're gonna put them out until that point.
Okay.
And then we're gonna put out an album with the full resources of everything. Of course, I know I've spent 20 years learning how to make the perfect album. I know how to do it. I just don't want to drop it in a quiet room, if that makes sense.
Okay. So you don't think you created the greatest album yet? Like, you don't feel like you've got to that point? So,
I know how to do it. I just haven't. Some of my best work is from Focus. I took the most time on Focus. The perfect James Allen album with the perfect structure, the songs and everything would be King's Rise. So if you want to hear a perfect James Allen album, you listen to King's Rise.